This is Kilo Charlie 9, Alpha Sierra Charlie, the KC9AC with the CSRA Multimode TechNet. You're listening to it every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the SOUTHEASTLINK. And you're listening to the technical portion of the net. We're just talking about some of the cybersecurity threats out there. One of the articles that I was going to go over tonight was a little bit lengthy, but was talking. I'm just going to summarize it because the article actually is about 7 pages long. It was a little bit too much for me to read. But the article itself was talking about, the cables in the deep sea, and eventually how they were able to find out how to fix them and how to maintain them. So there's actually, if you can think of, how when your vehicle breaks down, you have tow trucks and things like that. There's a whole series of ships out at sea, and their sole purpose is to go and make these repairs on the seafloor and go through and fix these cables. There's different patterns. It could be tsunamis, could be storms. I've even in the article they were talking about how a volcano, the eruption that destroyed some of the cables. So there's all kinds of different things that can happen. Again, I'm just summarizing what I saw in the article because it was such a long article. But all of the original articles that I talked about tonight are actually posted on the CSRA TechNet page on Facebook. You can view it. The article itself, and I'm referring to, is written by the BBC, and it's by Mr. William Parker. It was published on October 15th, 2024. So I'm skipping ahead quite a bit into the article, and I'm talking about how data travels. That's one of the parts in bold here. They're talking about 1.4 million kilometers, which is roughly about 870,000 miles of telecommunication cables lay on the seafloor in every ocean on the planet. And if you were to lay it end to end, it's about 99% of all digital data. So at some point, our data is going through the ocean to talk point to point. And if you think about the earlier days of our technologies, we had, we didn't have fiber optics, so we had copper technology that was done the same way. Similarly, it requires people to make those repairs. One of the parts in the article is, the idea that shark bites, cause the internet to go out. That's definitely a myth. A lot of the ships that are on standby, they're dispatched to specific locations to make these repairs and do it in a timely manner. But there's a bunch of different companies that have submarine networks, and they work on these cables to make these repairs. If you happen to go and check out the actual article, you'll see pictures of some of these cables. There's deep sea fiber optic cables, and they're used for other purposes as well. They're able to hear, the wildlife that's in the ocean. It's almost like listening with a stethoscope. So there's different things that they can do with it on the scientific side, but as well as the data side. So the actual first transatlantic cable was actually laid in the 19th century. The cables were noticed that the Atlantic Ocean gets shallower in the middle. So as they were laying these cables, they had what's called acoustic sensors. They were using those to detect whales, ships, storms, earthquakes, and everything in the high seas. Let me reset. One of the things that they're noticing along the bottoms of these oceans is what they refer to as canyon flushing. So there's sediment and there's things at the bottom of the ocean, and eventually these cables are, not necessarily in the same location where they were originally laid, or they're getting buried, or they're being damaged because of the erosion that's where they're laid. So that looks like the gist of the article itself. I didn't want to read the whole thing out because it was quite lengthy, but they're talking about how they're connecting a lot of the smaller islands also to provide internet service there. I can't pronounce some of these. They're talking about volcanic eruptions from 2021 and 2022, and it destroyed a good portion of some subsea interlinking cable for Pacific islands near Tonga, as well as they're looking at roughly about 36 miles that was damaged from volcano activity. So we'll take a pause and see if there's any comments on that article. I also posted those articles, those 3 articles that were shared this evening on the Facebook group CSRA Multimode TechNet. This is KC9ASC. We'll take a standby here for any questions or comments. If there's no questions or comments, that concludes the technical portion of the net. I'll go ahead and pass it back to K9PAO. He's the net control for the CSI Multimode TechNet this evening. Go ahead, sir.
Eric, thank you very much. A lot of great information, and it's information I think we all get something out of it every week. I get my internet security a little bit tighter. My situation, I currently live in an apartment complex, and everybody's got internet and hotspots and more hotspots, and I can pick up 50 or 60 of them here, easy. But all that to say, it's out there, and you've really got to protect it. And I use Apple to manage my passwords. That's really been helpful for me. Lets me know if my password's been compromised. Lets me go to the website and change it. It creates passwords.